Howdy. Howdy, welcome back to the channel. You know what I'm saying? If you ain't checked out my past video, you know what I'm saying? Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and also share with your homies. Turning up. You know, Marvel is only getting better, bro. And DC as well. You feel me? Today, we got a video from Everything Always. Avengers Doomsday, Rune King Thor versus Dr. Doom.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name's Michael Roman, aka Allfires. You know, Rune King Thor is regarded as one of the fan favorites and maybe the most powerful version of Thor we've ever seen from the Marvel comics. That's why it's not surprising at all to see rumors circulating that Marvel Studios is looking to do this version of the character.
How does he become the Rune King, though? Like, what trials and tribulations he gotta go through this time? Because we saw what he had to do when he was creating the hammer. I forgot what the hammer name is, though. I ain't gonna lie. So don't bash me in the commentary. You know what I'm saying? I don't remember everything, though. But bro, what trials and tribulations he gotta go through to be a Rune King, bro? Because from what I've been hearing and stuff, bro, the Rune King is overly powerful. You know what I'm saying? And can y'all let me know in the comments, when he becomes a Rune King, would he be stronger than Odin? Or is Odin really just like that, just OP? Because I really do want to see Thor be more powerful. I want to see him use the hammer a lot more, use the powers that he gained with the hammer. Like, all the stuff he did in in-game, bro, I want to see more of that.
Doomsday or Avengers Secret Wars. But unbelievably, for being such a fan favorite character, he did not exist for that long in the comics, only a couple of issues and during one certain run back in the 90s. And what's more than that, I see a lot of misinformation online about who and what he actually was. Today, we're going to go through the whole story, separate fact from fiction, talk about what actually happened in the storyline to create Rune King Thor, and whether or not Marvel Studios has actually been setting us up for this arc the entire time. And there is quite a bit of evidence for what they've already done with the character, starting all the way back in Thor Ragnarok, that this may very well be the case. We're breaking it all down. Marvel Studios setting up Rune.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. I honestly think a lot of people think the same way too, bro. At least I've been seeing in a lot of, you know, different social media, you know, a lot of people love Thor Ragnarok, and I believe it's due to the fact that that's when he started using his power. Like, we really seen him use a lot of his Thor power a lot more, you know. And it's probably because he was fighting the Hulk. And I think that might have been the part that everybody liked, is when he fought the Hulk. Because I'm not gonna lie, that was a beautiful fight. Cinema. We need more of that. But I ain't gonna lie, bro. We can't just be having all these scenes where Hulk is just getting beat up like that. Because Hulk was supposed to be the one who was throwing hands and knees and, you know, the OG, all that. And now he getting whooped by so many different characters, bro. It's really starting to make me worry. Like, what's happening to Hulk? You know what I'm saying? I know this is a Thor video, but it just seemed like Hulk just keep getting beat up now that I think about it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm hoping at least Thor, you know what I'm saying, he don't become this powerful and then they make him super weak like they did the Hulk, bro. You know what I mean?
Thor for Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. But first, I want to tell you guys about an opportunity to come say hi, meet me, and check out my band. Allfires is playing Tampa in less than 2 weeks on November 15th. I will be doing a casual meet and greet when doors open at 7:30. To those of you who already grabbed your tickets and messaged me, I'm super excited to meet you guys. There's a link down in the description and comments. Tickets are cheap, only $15, but extremely limited. So if you're in the greater Tampa area, come say hi and check us out, grab your tickets, and I'll see you on November 15th. Okay, so as I mentioned briefly during the prologue, there seems to be a lot of misinformation, or at least mislabeling, as to which version of Thor was actually Rune King Thor and which story he first showed up in. Rune King Thor first showed up...
Question, is there variants of Thor that we've seen? Have we seen any other variants of Thor yet? Or we've only seen one Thor? And is there variants of Thor, or is there only one Thor? Because now that I think about it, bro, is Rune King Thor a different variant of Thor? Because it might not be. I'm just asking, you know what I'm saying? Let me know, bro.
Avengers Disassembled, the Mighty Thor 80 through 85. It was basically an Avengers Disassembled prologue, but this is the storyline in which Thor ends up assigning Beta Ray Bill to be the king in his stead and takes off for Hildstolf in an attempt to learn more knowledge about Ragnarok, because he wants to finally end the cycle. Now, when he gets there, he runs into the spirit of a young boy who says not only can he give him Odin's powers to become an even greater god, that he can actually make him more powerful than the Allfather. To which, believing the ghost, Thor willingly plucks out both of his eyes and drops them into the well of Mimir. In that moment, quote, the magic of the runes and...
I would never have that much trust in somebody ever, bro. They said Thor, without hesitation, took out both of his eyes. Bro, what if they was just playing with you? What you gonna do then? Because you can't see nothing now. He ain't been blind enough to really be used to using his other senses yet. He's not Daredevil. What if they was just playing, bro? You can't be just trusting people like that, bro.
Mimir, give Thor.
I'm glad he didn't get played.
Past, you know? Control the present, crazy, and guide the future. In that moment, Thor could see
played the game God of War, bro?
Past the knowing of the gods. But his leveling up in power and his sacrifice demands don't end there. In fact, he's told that in order to complete this process and gain the Odin power, he will
this may be the last
actually need to die and be reborn, which he willingly does. And in doing so, becomes what is referred to as one of the most, if not the most powerful, and in or he will actually need to attack gods. But his leveling up in power and his sacrifice demands don't end there. In fact, he's told that in order to complete this process and gain the Odin power, he will actually need to die and be reborn.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. This is the ultimate finesse. This is the ultimate finesse move. They told this man, you gotta die. We'll bring you back, though. Y'all let me know in the comments right now, bro. And don't lie. You know what I'm saying? Don't try to make no theoretical or nothing, even though this is a theoretical. But don't make any more theoretical ideas outside of this one right here. If you had the chance, possibly, to get the power of Rune King, right, from somebody you really don't even know like that, and they telling you, bro, you gotta take out both of your eyes and die, are y'all taking this offer, bro? Y'all taking this offer, or y'all gonna be like, nah, I'll go to somebody else, bro. We find another way. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't see how dying will make anybody more powerful. I'm just saying, bro. I know the whole reborn thing is, you know, but why would you trust somebody to be able to do that? You know, bro, yeah, that's. Hey, Thor better man than me, I guess. You know what I'm saying? I would never do that, bro.
And in doing so, becomes what is referred to
they told,
as one
bro,
of the
you gotta
most,
die
if not
first.
the most powerful versions of Thor, Rune King Thor. Now, some diehards will love to argue that there are more powerful versions of Thor, but I honestly feel like it's no debate because his power set is absolutely insane. Not only is he all of the powers of Thor and the Odin Force that you'd expect on their absolute maximum level, but he has ridiculous godlike abilities. The ability to see the future and actually impact and warp reality in present time. And it's not just that his rune magic mastery is turned up on high, which makes him ridiculously powerful, but he can...
If this happened, would he be able to do stuff to the timeline, bro? Would he be able to get Loki out the chair, stuff like that? You know what I mean? These are good questions, bro. Because if they saying bro could warp reality and stuff itself, I'm thinking bro's gonna be able to change some of the timeline, like help fix it or something like that. You know what I mean? Because there'll be no point of him having that power and he don't use it to do that. Unless somebody die or something like that and he uses that power to bring him back. Like that Deadpool scene that we saw him holding Deadpool in his arms. What if he uses power to like bring him back? Because if he could warp reality and stuff, could he possibly bring people back by like going back in time and stopping something or something like that? That's what I'm thinking, bro. What would he use that power for other than that?
Actually erase villains and foes with a thought. He demonstrates this almost immediately.
This Thor is not coming. He's too strong, bro. He could erase people with a thought. He's not coming. He is not coming to this movie, bro. That's too strong. If they not finna let Hulk beat up some people the way he normally do, they are not finna let somebody that can erase people with a thought come into play, bro. Or at least they not gonna give him that power move. You know what I'm saying? They gonna make it seem like he haven't learned it yet or something like that. Or he not strong enough to use that power because he just got this power type shit. I'm saying they gonna find, if this Rune King come in here, bro, they gonna find a way to throw out that power, bro. Because then it will be like, bro, why can't he just think him away? I mean, everything's done. You know what I'm saying? That's what it will come to, bro.
after becoming Rune King Thor by running into one of his most powerful adversaries, the Mangog, someone he always struggles against, but in this case literally just touches his head and erases him from existence. That's the kind of power level that we're talking about. And so when he goes up against those who sit above in shadow, which is the council that's feeding off the cycle of Ragnarok in the first place, he's able to easily defeat them basically with one swing. And with the cycle of Ragnarok now finally ended and his ascension complete at the end of the story.
So Thor becomes a one-hit wonder pretty much, but you know, it's just not one hit as in when he swings, you know what I'm saying? He becomes One Punch Man.
Standing alone like an eternity-like entity entering the slumber of the gods, or something akin to the Odin sleep. Now this certainly feels like the track we've been on with Marvel and for quite some time, going all the way back to Ragnarok.
That's way too strong, bro, for a hero.
Everything began with Marvel's first
He was a villain.
Ragnarok. It actually lines up pretty nicely and foreshadows his becoming of Rune King Thor. If you go back to Ragnarok, he obviously loses one eye and then almost immediately levels up with the Odin Force. We could be
he gotta sacrifice his eyes?
Ascend to full Rune King Thor if a couple of specific...
Now that I think about it, what else would be better to sacrifice? Bro, he could sacrifice a finger, bro. You know how in Assassin's Creed, bro, they had to give up like the ring finger so they can put the little blade. You know? He could have just did that, bro. He don't need that finger, the ring finger, to hold nothing. Why he got to give up his eyesight? How he gonna see? Are they trying to unlock Ultra Instinct or something? Like, bro, don't use your sight, use your senses. You know what I'm saying? Ultra Instinct style. Like, why he gotta lose his eyes, bro? You know what I'm saying?
Things happen in Doomsday. Speaking of which, we covered an original report here from Lizzie Hill, editor-in-chief over at the Cosmic Circus, that reported, quote, "From what I've heard, Thor will reunite with Loki at some point during these films, and he'll essentially be one of the last OG Avengers remaining. Our friend Alex Perez did hear a rumor that Marvel wanted to give Chris Hemsworth Thor a proper send-off in these movies in an epic way, with sources pointing to the New Avengers Volume 3, number 32 as inspiration. What happens during Volume 3, number 32, you might ask? Thor actually ends up sacrificing himself alongside Hyperion in order to defeat the Beyonders and give the Avengers a chance to survive. Now, this isn't exactly like the way he sacrificed his life enduring the Mighty Thor run for the Avengers prologue, but this would be him sacrificing his life, be it in a different way, still a sacrifice, which to me keeps the intrinsic value of the storyline, Thor sacrifices, Thor gets more powerful, intact if they're truly doing this arc. Incidentally, this would also reconcile some of the rumors we've heard and then some of the quotes from Kevin Feige that somehow you have Thor dying in Avengers Doomsday getting a proper send-off, and then you have Kevin Feige saying that he could see Chris Hemsworth, who's in his prime, quote-unquote, play Thor for another 10 years. Well, how are you going to have him play Thor for another 10 years if you're killing him off in one of these films? Well, because not only is it Marvel and no one truly dies, but him dying is actually the conduit, pun totally intended, to becoming one of these most ultimately powerful Avengers, which would full circle bring us all the way back to the joke about him being the most...
This has to be set for Thor 5, bro. I don't see this Rune King being in Doomsday, bro, because he'll be able to one-shot Doctor Doom. It'll be no fight, bro. Like how they gonna give that? Like, what excuse would they give, bro, if Rune King is there with Doctor Doom? Like, and bro. And okay, I guess if he has the power of the Beyonder, maybe it'll be like a perfect matchup between him and Thor. Maybe that's the final matchup before Secret Wars. Maybe Doctor Doom end up losing to Rune King Thor so damn bad to where he's like, okay, I need friends. Allegedly, you know what I'm saying? He lost to Kang too. So that'll be 2 big L's. And maybe, you know, that this second L against Thor is what causes Secret Wars, where he bring all his somewhat friends, you know what I'm saying, to come and fight everybody. And then that's when we see all the heroes come and fight, because, you know what I'm saying, that's how he ended up creating his Doom boss and all that stuff. He's like, yeah, I can't do it by myself. You know, that's what I'm thinking, bro, because I don't see how they gonna bring Rune King Thor in and he don't one-shot Doctor Doom. And that's not the end of him. You know what I'm saying? Like, in some type of, you know. So maybe Rune King Thor pops up at the end of Doomsday and saves the day.
Powerful Avenger, if he becomes Rune King Thor, he just might be. And it's that very point that I definitely want to weigh in on as my final thought for this video. Look, the Russos famously depowered the Hulk during Infinity War and Avengers Endgame because they thought he was a solve-all. We talk about this quite often at the channel. And as powerful as Hulk can be and was back then, he's nowhere near some of the power creep characters we've had enter the MCU here and real recently, say like Sentry and Franklin Richards, and now apparently getting characters on the horizon like Rune King Thor. So on some level, their MO for addressing the power creep or having a character be quote-unquote a solve-all is going to need to be addressed. And where I would normally say Rune King Thor maybe just too powerful to have his variant show up really in any film, because he would just kill everybody with a thought. When it comes to God Emperor Doom and where we're going to be with Avengers Secret Wars, I really don't feel like anything is off limits as far as powers, because Franklin Richards really breaks the symmetry of all that. So when you have too powerful
so maybe Franklin Richards,
it's not about depowering characters in order to make them fit in the story. It's a different kind of challenge to make the story compelling. I'm just wondering how they're going to address all.
Whenever Rune King Thor decides to try to erase Dr. Doom with a thought, Franklin Richards is like constantly reviving him or something like that. So that power doesn't work because Franklin Richards is there. Maybe that's what they're going to do, bro. Maybe they're going to be like Franklin Richards cancels out some of the powers that Rune King Thor has because he can like bring people back to life and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm seeing right now, bro. That's all that's running through my mind. Maybe Franklin Richards cancels out some of those powers.
All that. And so Rune King Thor as a possibility for the end of his arc, or maybe him entering a slumber at the end of Secret Wars so he can return in the future of the Mutant Saga, sort of feels like exactly where they're going, especially since they already took some small elements of this storyline.
Yeah, look at it, bro. Got no eye. So okay. So the eye that he do got is glowing. Why couldn't they just do that with the other eye? Why does he have to give up his eyes? Or did he choose to give up his eyes? Because if he chose to give up his eyes, bro, Thor, why'd you give up your eyes, bro? Why not a finger? Can you see?
In Ragnarok, and yes, the cycle of Ragnarok is done. He solved it in sort of the same way, not defeating a council or having to become Rune King Thor, but by letting the cycle actually end, letting Ragnarok happen. But since he's already down to one eye, and he got the Odin Force for it, can you imagine how powerful he's going to become if he loses the other eye and then his life? And so instead of, again, the exact one-to-one out of the storyline that happened in the Disassembled...
And then bro goes straight to losing his life. Right after he loses one of his other eye. Why not just get rid of a finger then? Why not just lose your life in the beginning? You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, it's like, why they do it? It's like they gotta torture him first before they give him some powers. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it looked like.
Storyline, they can just have him sacrifice himself alongside Hyperion or another character, or maybe just Thor, die, go to Valhalla, and then all of a sudden return in Avengers Secret Wars in the right moment as the all-powerful Rune King Thor. Maybe that's exactly what's going to happen. Guys, let me know all your thoughts down below in the comments about any and all of this, and if you want to see Rune King Thor either in Secret Wars or the future of...
I want to see Rune King Thor, but I don't think bro gotta die to be Rune King. Bro gotta lose his other eye and then die. What?